Hey guys, Cinder Ash, and we're back. We're on patch 13, which has introduced class trees and kind of has revamped Darktide, and it's kind of brought everybody back to it. Mostly console gamers, because Xbox finally got it, which means now we're going to be on the same patches if we want to play together, which means patches are going to become more slower, a little more goofy, and kind of late. I will try to keep up with it, as the game now kind of seems to have revitalized, and a lot of people are coming back, and I'm happy about that. I really am. It is a good game. It's not perfect because Fat Shark's running it, but still a good game nevertheless. This video is going to be your Zealot guide on what I'm running on Damnation. You can run this on Damnation, high intensity. Should be able to clear it out. There's no real reason to do Auric compared to doing normal Damnation. You get more Ordo dockets, but again, they're not really that required. If you're playing as much as I have, or if you're just playing a lot in general, money's never going to be an issue. If anything's going to be an issue, it's going to be diamantine and plasteel. But we'll hopefully be able to negate a lot of those issues with this build and going forward. So let's get right into it. First off, we're going to start with Anointed in Blood. You get 25 base range damage, reduced the further you are away from your target. Now, this might seem weird because most of our build is melee. Now, there are good aspects to the gun, and we're basically a very hybrid build that's very good at ranged as well as very good at melee. And Anointed in Blood gives you 25 base range damage, and the weapon that we use is a very close ranged weapon, but can be used at long range as well. So it's a free damage boost on your gun that's going to be helpful for most situations, but one in particular that we'll get to in the Sicarum, as well as in a real lobby. Next up, Backstabber. Obviously have to take this if we want to go get our knives. 20% damage on melee backstab hits. As long as you hit an enemy in the back, you get an extra 20% damage. This is only really good for Beasts of Nurgle. But again, with Anointed in Blood, you kind of want to stick away from it, because 9 times out of 10, you're the one that's going to get swallowed. Not that great. Sadly, the only time that you never want to be down somebody's throat, but it's all good. Obviously, Blood Redemption's next. Regain toughness, increased by 50% on melee damage, always good. Better than the Scourge. There is a crit build that I will talk about in another build if somebody wants it. I personally don't like crit builds. I think they're kind of weak, but there are some crit builds that are disgusting that don't use a knife. So if you want that, just let me know down in the comments. Have to take the next toughness boost, and then second win, replenish 10% toughness on a successful dodge. The reason we take this is because of sword dancing. Sword dancing is a very, very popular thing to do. If you haven't seen my tips and tricks video, you can look for sword dancing there, but I will be updating it so that way I can contribute for Xbox players by showing you how to sword dance with a controller, because I personally bought a controller just to help you guys. Next up, we have Blades of Faith. Obviously, this is really good. High damage, very good. Throw those knives, does a lot of damage. You also get them whenever you kill a special enemy or an elite in melee, which means you basically should have infinite knives. And while the better perk here in any situation would be the Stun Storm, because you get a better stun and you can use that for your team, this is good because you basically want to be the leader of the pack. You want to be able to throw daggers at people, you want to get those headshots and just keep moving. Next, we get the toughness, and the toughness boost, and then the melee damage. You want all three of these because all of these stack. So, better melee damage, more toughness, and then obviously toughness damage reduction. All of these stack. So they are very good in a personal size skill to just condense everything and keep it together. We're going to go down and get movement speed, because a little bit of movement speed, stay a little bit ahead of everybody. Keeps it really nice. Until death. Obviously, 120 seconds every 2 minutes. Keeps you alive, keeps you going. And on Damnation, really good for clutching up plays. Allows you to keep moving, keep going. Always great. Obviously, the next one after that, you have to take Holy Revenant. You get 25% of your max health back, which on this build, not great. And I'm sad they put a cap on that. It used to be no cap. So you could have gone from 0 to 100 on your HP real quick. But it's okay. You'll still get a decent amount of health back, and because this is a wounds build, you'll still be like 1 or 2 wounds compared to like all the other wounds that you're going to have. Benediction, toughness damage reduction, always a classic, always really good. Perfect. Next, you're going to want to take a toughness boost, and then you'll eventually take this one way later in the build. You want to focus getting down to the nitty-gritty of stuff before you have to come and backlog nodes. So this one, not really required or necessary right now, but you will be taking this node. Next is Fury of the Faithful, dash forward, 50 toughness gain, 20% attack speed for 10 seconds. Next melee hit gains 25 guaranteed crit. They have not patched this yet, and they still haven't patched it in over a year. But when you use Fury of the Faithful, it changes Carapace armored enemies into flak, and flak enemies into unarmored. This is really good against crushers, and you'll see why when we get into the Sicarium on Damnation. Obviously, 2 charges is the way to go. If you're going to take this, you have to take the 2 charges. Next up, Suppression Boost. Suppression is good because it stops the ranged enemies from hitting you, and then we're going to couple it with another of our weapons that does suppression as well. That will allow us to not take as much damage, especially from ranged enemies. Next up, Punishment. Melee attacks that hit gain at least 3 enemies gain 30% impact strength for 5 seconds, stacks 5 times. Max stacks gain uninterruptible. With your axe, you are always going to be focusing groups and mobs. There's no reason that you will not get uninterruptible. You are constantly pushing the bar, constantly hitting people, and honestly, with any melee that you take, you're going to hit 3 or more people. It's really, really good. Next up, toughness damage reduction, and then we're going to go down the middle tree. So, Faithful Frenzy, melee attack speed, speaks for itself, 10% health boost, always good. You want to take both of these. So, you want the 2 wounds, because it's a wounds build. You want to be low HP and lose your wounds. And then also, Martyr's Purpose, 1% of the damage taken is converted to ability cooldown reduction, which means you'll get Fury of the Faithful back a lot faster, makes it a lot easier, makes you, tougher in the end. Obviously, Martyrdom, 8% melee damage up to 9 missing wounds. So, most of your curios will be wounds until you can find some really special ones that are incredibly rare that I have never seen one have, but they are apparently coded in the game, which are 3 wound curios, but we'll get to that soon. Shall Not Fall, Martyrdom grants 5% toughness damage reduction per wound, which again, more toughness damage reduction is great because bleed from melee is still a thing. I don't know why, they should have reverted that, but I digress. And then Maniac, Martyrdom grants 4% attack speed per missing wound, which again, just makes you tougher, makes you faster, makes you better. You'll come back over here for the melee damage boost. Sustained Assault, you'll get melee damage for 5 seconds on hitting an enemy with melee attack, stacks 5 times, so that's another 20 damage on top of your weapon, and you'll just be smacking things really, really hard. Obviously, another toughness damage reduction, and you're good to go. So now we'll talk about our weapons. Now, standard, very easy beginner weapon is an Antax Mark V combat axe. It's really good on lights, does a little bit better on heavies, but overall, you just want this to one-tap enemies in the face. Now, mine's not the best roll, but it is a roll. Obviously, you would want 25% damage on flak and 25% damage on carapace. Again, for Chastise the Wicked, but also in case you run out of ammo, this is another very good one to have. Shred is all I have on right there for now. I would get rid of it. The crit chance on this weapon is not great. There are better crit weapons, but I have not been able to get what I need, which is a Rending one. So if you want, get a Rending Blessing and Thunderous as well. Brittleness affects flak enemies. Rending affects carapace enemies. Know that, so that helps you build toward your best melee item. No matter what you're running, as long as you have both of those, you can, in fact, 3-tap crushers in the face on Damnation. Especially if you have melee built up on something like an Antax. Boom. Easy, one and done. And if you have a Thunderhammer and you're doing a stealth build, they're not even that required, but if you do have it, you can 1-tap Demon Hosts on Damnation, and you can also 1-tap Crushers on Damnation. So something to keep in mind. Next up is going to be your best gun. hands down, especially for Chastise the Wicked and the build that we're doing. So, the Agrippina. Very good. Again, you want damage for Carapace and Flak. If you can, these two are really, really good, but especially Terrify and Barrage. 8-meter radius on you is massive. You might not know how big 8 meters is, but I'll show you when we get into the Sicarium. It is huge on the range, and especially if you're doing Chastise the Wicked and you're running in with a gun like this, especially against Crushers, everything gets suppressed. They won't attack you for a couple of seconds. Really, really good. And then obviously Strip Down, ranged attack immunity and plus 15% speed while sprinting over the 60% stamina. Chastise the Wicked counts as sprinting, gain range damage attack immunity. You're good to go. Really good. If I could, I would slap a tier 4 of that on. I have not gotten really lucky with my rolls, and I'll explain how to get really good rolls in another video. Curios. You're obviously going to be looking for toughness. Anything toughness is good. Max toughness is at 16%. Really hard to get, but they are very good. I heard it goes up to 17%, but I would assume that's just like a +2 or +3 wounds curio. They're incredibly rare and almost impossible to get. So just pick up a 15 or a 16 and it'll hold you over. Now, perks. Perks do not stack. Some do, some don't. So you got to kind of know which ones do and which ones don't. Cover that in another video. But for here, just know that damage resistance to like gunners, snipers, stuff like that is going to be the best way to go. Corruption resistance in general is always good. Combat ability regeneration, always really good as well. Again, damage resistance to gunners, poxhounds, and sprint efficiency. Always make sure that you're at the front of the line and fighting for everybody. And again, +1 wounds because it's a wounds build. I'm waiting because I'm greedy for a +3 and then going to redo it. But that is what it is. And then obviously toughness, regen, speed. Now we're going to hop into the meat grinder to show you. Now you can see it's Damnation. There will be no cuts in between here because I'll just be constantly talking. And I hate making videos where I'm not talking to you guys in real time. So this will be obviously all one go. I'll have to come in and out to show you this, but this will probably be the best example. So as you can see, Crusher, we're on Damnation. So there's no real good places to hit it except its weak point, which is the head. As you can see, a full clip barely does any damage. It does about a quarter. Alright, so now with Chastise the Wicked, I'm just going to do it the first time just to kill it, to get it out of the way, and then we'll come back once it respawns and just show you again. So Chastise the Wicked, boom, murked it with only a couple of bullets. A little bit over 10 bullets. Now that it's fully here, we'll do a full Chastise the Wicked to show you the full damage. Boom. 2,583, and you still have more Chastise the Wicked, so if you have more than one Crusher, you might be able to get both of them down, or at least the one of them completely dead, and the second one almost dead. Really good, very useful. Obviously, if you come across any of these flat guys, you can do the same thing, but you can always aim for the chest because they are Carapace. It's easier to kill them that way. Same with these guys. It's easier to just shoot them in the stomach. But that just shows you how strong this weapon is, especially with the way that we've built. Now, obviously, I tell this to everybody, just because I showcase this does not mean that the Sicarium is a good example of how things will play in actual combat. I highly recommend that you try it out in Damnation before you actually confirm this is good or this is good when you actually take it into the Sicarium. Sicarium is just there to kind of show you damage numbers and try to pretend that something's good. If you ever see a content creator show you stuff in the Sicarium, and only in the Sicarium, and never actually show you any gameplay with the builds, cut it. It's a bad build. 100%. Alright. As we load in, you can see that we are in Silo Cluster. It is a Damnation, and I am with 3 randoms. They are all Ogryn, because Ogryn is probably one of the strongest classes after the rebalancing on the patch, and I'm very happy about that. Ogryn was by far the worst class to play as pre-patch 13, and now I would argue to say that Veteran's probably the worst class now. So we already got that. So we want to focus that. And as you can see, just Ogrins are just going to run everything down. And I'm probably going to get more or less hard carried this entire run. And I'm not afraid to admit that. So you won't see the best that this video will provide, but I am very much a honest person. I don't care if I perform badly in one mission, or if I'm getting hard carried. The whole goal is to just show the build, and whether or not that I perform well on it or not is, you know, up for you guys to watch and up for you guys to enjoy. Because there's nothing I hate more than people who, like, look for that one very specific game. They, you know, film, like, 20, 30 hours just to get that one game that makes their build look really fucking good to post to YouTube. And act like, oh, man, this is, like, the most gods... Wow, that hitbox. Okay, that's okay. Like, the most godsend video that they have ever seen. And that's just not me. I will show you as is what the build does, what it, you know, lacks. You know, you'll be able to see it all in real time. Now, it looks like we have one gun Ogrin, we have one normal Ogrin doing a bleed heavy build. And we have pretty much everybody as is. Now, as you can see, since we don't have a Psyker, I took cover behind that wall. And the reason that you want to take cover behind stuff like that, and why height actually makes a huge difference in this game, is because of that. You'll be able to duck and avoid a lot of the gunshots, but I made my character as tall as I could. Okay, here we go. Now, he got netted. We could have picked him up, but we have a little bit more of a hard focus on stuff right now that we need to focus, like these crushers. And we've already gone through our Chastise the Wicked on both charges. We're getting it back pretty quick, but not quick enough as is. And then we're also on our 2-minute penalty for our death. And we did get a lot of our HP back, about the full 25% because of the melee. As you can see, things get incredibly hectic. And you should always be incredibly careful when playing and play around what everybody's doing. You gotta kind of be extremely reactive when you don't have comms with pugs. In a group call, in a group setting, I would have performed significantly better, and our group would have done 1,000 times better. But we did the best that we could without comms and without people communicating on anything there. Now, we hear a person with a dog, and we have a Reaper here. We're gonna rush the Reaper. Somebody had a grenade. That was great. Now, we just kind of want to bob and weave in here. And that was a bad, bad bomb that blowed us up. And thankfully, Ogrin taunted through the wall, as you can see with those guys with their red heads. Now, we want to use our Chastise the Wicked, stay on top of these guys, and just keep meleeing. Keep our toughness, keep dodging, anything that we can to just keep us going, because we are incredibly weak right now. Now, I may argue that I actually go back and grab this. Bomber, you could take it if you want. I let him take it because, again, he's the Ogre and he's going to hard carry me a lot more compared to how much I'm going to do. Because, again, my Chastise the Wicked's down, so I'm going to rush in to rush ahead because I want to be a little bit ahead of these guys because I want to make sure that I can assist them. We focus the melee guys first before going for ranged because melee goes through toughness and will take out our health. That was another Reaper. Okay, avoid that bomb, otherwise we'll go down. And he's got that. Alright, we drop down. And we keep dodging, bobbing, weaving, making sure that we're not taking too much toughness damage. And then we got gunners. Pop that so we can get our HP and toughness back. And we're going to swap to a gun for a little bit. Pop that up, blow that up, let that go. We got another one coming. I was able to do that, thankfully. Alright, there's our gunner. He was able to take care of that because I played that poorly and I was not paying attention. Alright, we got a mutant coming. Want to take care of these guys a little bit, just so that way they don't melee us in the back. And then we got a bulwark and shotgunners. So this is really bad because there's such a high density. Yeah, we're going to kind of try and clear the back line before we get to the bulwarks. He opened the line for the bulwarks. So now we just want to keep shooting into all those shotgunners so that way they don't absolutely shred us. There we go. Perfect. Alright, everybody can get a health. We're going to take health. I understand that I'm on a martyrdom build. You want to be low health. But we don't have our ability back yet, so that's bad for us on our HP front. If we take a lot of damage from misplaying or just from like these guys in general. As you can see, like, I would already be down if I didn't take it beforehand, and my Ogren buddies are still clearing up in the back. So I want to push back towards them, just so that way we're all in coherency, gain that toughness, bonus, everything going. Dog behind. So you want to look. I was able to get that dog. I was able to get the other dog. We got a scarab. Or, scab trapper. My bad. Misspoke. Heat of the moment things, especially when you're playing and recording at the same time, am I right? We'll grab that ammo. We probably should have let Grogutta get it, but that's okay. We can mark that ammo for him. Alright, shoot him in the back, so that way it drops him immediately. And we just keep going. Alright. So we got 3 shotgunners there. We want to just outrange them so they don't take all our toughness and all our HP, even though that's kind of what happened anyway. So we're just going to back up. And it already popped my thing, so this is bad. I'm going to go down. Yep. 3 shotgunners. They want to stay up there to defend, which is fine. It just didn't work for me because I had to take care of all these shotgunners. And I really couldn't get close to them just because I was already really fucked up from the previous engagement. So I'm going to move up to them because they communicated that's where they want to defend, and that's perfectly fine with me because I don't really care. We're just going to pop down this ammo for them. Now, there's nothing wrong with defending up here, especially with these guys because of the builds that they're running. But it definitely leaves us open in the back for shit like this, and I just got absolutely fucking murdered because of the 2 bombers. So, instead we could just do that, take care of them. And what I'll do is just kind of watch the back and hope that nothing crazy pops in behind us, but I'll just keep an open ear for it. There's a dog. I was able to hit it. Good. You can also push the dogs in midair, get them off, but they got nerfed incredibly hard as of patch 13. Excuse me. To compensate for Xbox players and just controllers in general. Harder to play with controllers and everything. And that's why we don't try to fuck with the dregs. As you can see, I went from like about 100 HP to 5 off that drag alone. Thankfully, I have Revenant back up now, so we're good. So if I misplay again, I'll be able to come back up and instead of being down on my ass. Yep. As you can see, my Revenant's been popped. I'm just going to melee. It's back up, and then just keep pressing forward. I really miss the days when Remnant used to heal your full entire HP bar. I'm really sad they gutted it the way that they did. But it's understandable, like going from like 300 HP to 1 to back to 300 after like a horde was, you know, just nuts. Alright, so we're about at the halfway point. We just gotta get across the bridge over there, defend the silos, and then keep going. Silos are gonna require a little bit of communication, so I'll see what I can do with them. Normally on Heresy and below, you could solo the eyeballs and their targets, especially on a Zealot. But here, they respawn so fast, it'll be a little bit difficult to do so. Alright, got another bomber. I'm just going to rush to him, so he could just drop the bomb over here and not prevent my allies from catching up to me. I missed when Chastise the Wicked wouldn't get slowed by ranged attacks. I'm going to take this just simply because I don't want to be a detriment to my teammates. Even though I lose that melee damage, that's okay. There's a chaos spawn. Alright. Oh, he got knocked off. Unlucky. As you can see, their builds just absolutely negate anything that has to deal with the Chaos Spawn. I barely touched that thing. The Gungrin did all that. That was entirely the Gungrin. Sniper, so focus that. Focus the sniper. Turn focus. Alright, we got a horde coming in, so we want to stay close. So there's a shotgunner in this crowd. Get in, chastise the wicked, get rid of it. Because if they have any leeway, they're going to just use their shotgun, even if at like close range, can come really annoying. Alright, we lost all our toughness. We want to hop back in there with chastise the wicked and just keep moving. Stay close to these guys. Alright. This is a bad spot to be. I have my back against the wall, which is a good spot to be, but I have a shotgunner just shooting the shit out of me. So as you can see, I'm back down. Want to move forward again. We want to clear up and help our teammates. So, we want to focus down these maulers with our ranged and then go right back to melee. Alright, got to get him back up. I have stamina, which is good. Stamina allows you to get pickups. Don't be risky with it on Damnation, though. You can and will get knocked out of it very easily. And then I'm able to get him up. Now, the problem is because Bomber died in between spawn zones, because there's a spawn zone up here, he's way the fuck down here along 2 corridors, which could be really, really bad for us. Now, I don't have Chastise the Wicked or my Holy Revenant, so we're just going to use a med kit to heal up. It's better to lose the damage than it is to carry on without a safety net. And that's the thing about Zealot. It's very much a balancing act of, I gotta do this, or I'll get punished. And you don't want to be a detriment to your team, because being a detriment just means you're basically negated entirely. Alright, so we got this guy. Aim for the stomach. Instantly dead. Focus back to melee. Dodge and weave. Keep the melees up. No enemies, so we can reload. I'd like for them to get in here so I can open the next gate so we can get our other friend back, but it seems like they're a little preoccupied with something. I guess it was a POC sound. Alright. So I'm going to preemptively open this because they're in here and it'll close that door in the back. So it looks like we got a crusher and a couple other things. If you are ever down, always give your team notification of what's around you. Information is always good in this game. So if he told me that he had this around him and a crusher, could have made this a little bit easier. Alright, so killed the crusher and did that. He got him up because I was taking care of the crusher. That's what I was better at anyway. Alright, so I don't have any Chastise the Wicked, so I can't really do anything. What I'll do instead is focus all the other enemies that are coming in and focus off that, so that way they can mess with the crusher. I now have Chastise the Wicked back, so I can take care of them. There we go. Oh, shit. Alright. So, I mean, I'm not full carrying, or fully being carried. It's very much a very even benefit of who's been going down, who's not. But to be honest with you, where is he? Fezric? I don't think he's died. No, it's gotta be Bomber. Bomber has only died with his toughness build on, which is basically the unkillable Ogren is the taunt build. He's only died because he got knocked off the map. That's also what's made Ogren incredibly powerful, is just the ability to taunt everything, so it just gives your team leeway. Makes them a very, very versatile class. I am a very greedy player, and I also play with people who like to play support classes and not necessarily damage classes. So that also gives me a little bit of leeway on my builds. So another thing to take note of. I'm going to take that because I don't have any toughness. I'm going to rush in with this, just so that way I can assist my teammates and grab this. Alright. Added a little bit of suppression to the team build, just so that way I can keep people going. But ultimately, there's an ammo crate there. Hopefully somebody could take that. Alright, so there's not really a good spot for this, and I don't think any of them have grenades to allow us to really get in there right now, into the nitty-gritty. Because there's still that gunner in the back. So this gun's not the greatest at long range, but man, is it a fucking monster at close range. You can still snipe with it if you do burst fire, because it'll focus on the dot. Oh god, excuse me. It'll still focus on the dot. Alright. So as you can see, we got the 3 nodes here. Gonna need some teamwork for it, more than likely, but I could try. Yeah, no. I'm gonna need him to do that one. Alright. 2 melees with the antax will always defeat those eyes, no matter what. I just kind of wanted to test and see where the daggers would end up on that. I was kind of hoping the daggers would one-shot it, but not my luck. Alright, so our next one is right here. I'm going to rush to this one. One-tap it. We have a pox burster. We want to take care of that. I don't even care that I'm getting meleeed in the back. The whole idea is to progress and get objectives done on Damnation. Always focus objectives. You are not a KDA player, and this is a team game. Alright. So there's our next objective. Want to keep focusing and moving forward. Want to clear a way for our friends and our teammate. We want to take care of that. Okay, and then we got a gunner in the back here. Want to focus him. And then clear out these enemies until we got a teammate who's starting to bop those. He's got those. We're going to focus this one. Get that done. He's got the revive. So I want to focus this eye so we can get out of here. I didn't hit the first one. I got a blue dink. Alright. So we got that guy because he was focusing. And we restarted the system. Now, you want to pause over there on the blue dot. Reason is because snipers like to spawn in there. Will completely fuck your entire day up. We'll drop a med crate here. And then we'll just kind of sit. There's not really much else to do. Because, again, we got these guys. And more often than not, Bomber's running the taunt build. So there's a good chance that the build that he has with the explosive grenade is he's doing bonus damage. Based off of his bash with that weapon. So it makes him very, very strong. So we're basically just going to sit here and not really need to do anything special. These guys are going to be able to handle it. If we get a couple special enemies that we need to gun down, we can. But for the most part, these guys have builds that will set up for this. You also want to keep your eyes and ears open, because there's a trapper, there was that, and there was also a dog. Alright. Alright, doors open, so we want to move with the group. And then we're good to go. Essentially, no matter what happens at this point, if they go down, or if anything like that happens, because they want to, you know, more or less be KDA players, you can do that. What this is a really good thing about the braced autogun is you can kind of be a long-range player and hold out stuff for them until they decide to get in. And it's really as simple as that. The build holds up extremely well. As you can see, even with pugs and everything, you will go down, but that's to be expected of literally any of the builds. If you don't go down on any of the builds that you're playing, you'll have to show me it, because realistically, man, with pugs, it's really hard to get solid communication, especially when you're not on a mic, in a Discord call, anything like that. But overall, I think everybody did well, and I think I did well, and I hope the build showcase worked well for you, and I hope you guys liked the build. So you guys take care, stay awesome. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.